Can you hear us now? Hey, Mr. Tassoul, how
Can
are
you hear us?
Now I can, yes.
Can you hear us now?
And I know it's not my internet because I upgraded.
Well, that's interesting.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, right.
We can't hear you.
For real?
Honestly, I can't hear you. Mr. Schneider can hear loud and clear. Can you hear both of us?
Can you hear?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. We can hear you on his phone. We can hear you here, but I can't hear you.
Well, go to your settings.
What is going on here?
Stand by, everybody. We never claim to be experts in bee lives.
Let's try it one more time. Let's see if this works.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? I'll go off and come back on. 1 second.
So what's the topic today?
Bee lives. Should we be muted or not?
Sound or no sound?
Just stand by, everybody. I know you guys can hear. We can't hear.
Can you
I
hear me
can't
now?
hear Tassoul, though.
Can you hear me now?
How is that possible? How do you expect me to work under these conditions? All right.
Talk to us.
Can you hear me?
Completely silent, completely muted here.
Hey, Siri, call Michael Perry.
Calling Michael Perry. Mobile.
Yeah, we could hear you here. Why can't I hear you here? And that's on a delay, so that's not going to work. Oh, Tass.
Yeah.
There you go. We had it muted.
Well, there you go.
We're back.
I've been trying to tell you. Hit the settings.
All right. We're good. Thank you.
All right.
Let Mickey handle it.
Mickey. AOL at Yahoo.
Hey, look, I see there's 14 people interested in family plans. Discounted.
Yeah. Mr. Schneider, Mr. Moore, Miss Ramos, Mr. Birch, Mr. Manilli, Mr. Costa.
And you just named the entire audience. That's fantastic. All right, guys, how's everybody doing?
Remember, they can't talk back to us. They can only type.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Just making sure. Just making
I
sure.
can't hear them. I can't hear them. Tass, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. And you?
I'm great, but I wish more people tuned into this based on the responses. I'm reading.
Miss Ramos, I don't know if there's ever a time that you're not cooking tacos.
Hey, yeah, you talk about going above and beyond. We don't just bring food to the school systems. We get set up outside and make fresh tacos.
Mr. Weaver, how are you? Mr. Mundane. All right.
Mr. Moore in the house. New pricing structure, rocking and rolling. And Mr. Moore, remind me, I got your 8-year agreement sitting here. We'll send it right to you.
Oh, it's so unfair when he can't talk back. He can only type.
I'm waiting for it. Anyway. Hey,
it's only 8. Did you give him a special or what? I was on the 12th year.
Yeah, he kept pushing, so I cut it in half to 8.
Dang. Well, Lee's all ready. DocuSign's on the way.
There it is. Yes, Miss Ramos, I agree. Hey, all right, 7 years and he's in. Hey, all of our CMA licensees, Mr. Moore's thinking about coming into the CMA family. Doesn't want to do 8, wants to do 7. What do you guys think? That's how close we are, Mr. Moore. That's how close we are in the CMA family. Anyway, guys, this is a topic that, did anyone see the post in Century that I supposedly posted of family discounts or family plans, discount or no discount, why or why not?
Just for fun, I was going to post stupid question. Just for fun, but I didn't.
You should have. I'm sure somebody else already beat you to it, though.
Probably.
Hey, so let's talk about this. This is actually an important topic for success of your business. And the problem is when people decide about family discounts in their martial arts school, I think they kind of only look at it from one perspective. And that perspective is different for everybody. For example, some people say, I only have so much space on my floor. Every space has got to be worth the same amount, no discounts. So, and that's the only way they're looking at it. Some people are looking at it as not everybody can afford to put a family into martial arts, so we absolutely give discounts. But I believe, and we're going to explain it on here, there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer. And here's the thing, everybody. The right answer isn't the right answer for everybody. It's a different answer for everybody. And you need to understand that when it comes to family plans and discounts. So if I were to ask you right now, let's just see it. Let's get some engagement here. How many of you offer a family discount? Discounts for, second, third, fourth, fifth family members. How many of you offer a discount? Put yes, I offer a discount, or no, I do not. And whatever it is, right? It's not right or wrong. It's not a right or wrong answer. Okay. So Mr. Weaver, no. Mr. Munding, yes. Anybody else want to play? Mr. Costa does offer a discount. Now, a lot of you are already in our elite program, or you're in the CMA family, and you know where I'm going with this. You know there's a right answer and a wrong answer. But if you offer a family discount, what is it and why? If you don't offer a family discount, why not? So it's not just a yes, I offer a family discount. It's what is that family discount and why is it that? Why is it 10% off a second family member? Or why is it pay for 2 family members, all additional family members go free? Or why is it 20% off the second, 30% off the third, 50%? Why? And the truth is most of you don't have the real reason why. You just came up with a thought in your own head on what you feel will be best for either your business or your consumer or your prospect or your customers, right? Oh, side note, Mr. Weaver, side note, I am sitting at my desk with change my mind sign. We automatically just changed the mind. Okay. All right. So Tass.
Yeah.
You want to take over, dive in while I just sip a nice hot cup of Joe for a minute?
Sure. I'm just reading some of these comments.
Right. It's frustrating, right? Yeah. Hey, listen, everybody. This industry needs help. And you know what's worse than an industry or people that need help? What's worse is people that need help that don't realize they need help. That's worse. That's harder. And if they would just listen to our show, because listen, it doesn't mean you have to agree with us, but we're going to give you the reasons why. We're going to back up what we tell you so you understand the why. Doesn't mean you have to change it, but at least you're going to understand. You're going to understand that where we're coming from as far as a right way and a wrong way. One of the things I love, Tass, you mentioned it earlier off the show, is people that say, there's only a certain amount of dots I can fit on my floor and there's no discounts. Yeah, like all of you are maxed out in your schools. You have classes running from 12 noon to 9 at night and it's packed and there's no more room. I mean, nobody is. And I don't mean nobody. I've had 2 clients that I've worked with in the history of 20 years of working with schools that literally had a waiting list because we've maximized their class schedule and we maximized the space on their mat, and they had a waiting list. Their family plan would be different than my family plan. And that's what we did. We had to make some changes. But go ahead, Tass.
Well, first of all, I'm going to correct Ms. Ramos and Mr. Belashevsky, because they said first pay, everyone else is free. That's not what we said, just to be clear. So what we did say is the first two pay regular tuition, everybody else in the family trains for free, and this is important, in the basics program. So I just, because some people will see that like, oh, well, Metzger and Tassoul are telling people just charge for the first two people and everybody else comes for free. Yes, in our basics program, but not in the controversial upgrade program. Then they pay the difference. So just to be clear on that for you guys. And I know what you're saying, and I appreciate that, right? But I just want to make sure people reading these comments also understand, because sometimes we peruse things and we take it at face value. So yeah, look, man, I mean, we have a topic coming up in like 4 weeks. I wish that today was the day, but we always talk about having real talk, and I think we do talk real talk all the time on the show. But at the end of the day, every school, don't let Metz and I tell you that you should be charging for the first two people and everybody else comes for free in your basics program. We need to take a dive in and we need to look at your particular school, right? And where are you at? I just did this with Mr. Moore's school, and I had him list all of his first members, second members, third members, fourth, fifth, sixth, so on and so forth, to get a snapshot of where you're at. And based off of those numbers, we will determine what the best family program is for you guys, because all family plans are not created equal. But what I will tell you is the majority of the time, we find that the first two people pay regular tuition, everybody else comes for free in the basics program, is the best fit for most schools. Now, there are schools that is not the best fit. I want to be clear about that, right? But again, we can't just take something at face value and go, oh, I'm going to go do it. You have to understand the reasoning why, and what's the reason why. You know, we've got clients in Utah, right? And this is no like hit on Utah. It's just a lot of families in Utah happen to be large families. Probably not the best pricing structure, but again, it would be an individual case in a school in Utah, not just because it's Utah, you should charge for everybody or half off for third, fourth, fifth, whatever you're going to do, but it's done on an individual basis. So, you know, the first thing I would encourage everyone to do is look and see how many single members do you have? How many second members?
Hold on. You're going right there, and I want to make sure everyone understands this is a key thing, everybody. You need to listen to this, because this is going to tell you which family plan is best for you today. So you should write this down so you're smart as far as looking at what is reality and not is just what's in our heads. Your business, your numbers, your stats are going to tell you the right way to do things in your business. So go ahead, start from the beginning, Tess. Everybody should make a list.
Yes.
Of
how many single members do you have, right? So Johnny, oh, he's a single member. Oh, Susie's a single, but then her brother Billy is the second family member. Bobby is the third member. So just put a spreadsheet together and just tally it out. How many single members, first family members, how many second, how many third, how many fourth, and then let's figure out how many do you have in each of those categories. And the overwhelming percentage of the time, we have compared to first members, we have a relatively small number of second family members, and it just like literally dives from third, fourth, fifth. I mean, it's a very, very few people have 3, 4, 5 family members, right? The majority, and not all the time, so I don't want to get beat up on this, right? But the majority of the time, that's the case. So you need to find out where is your school at, and where do those numbers fall? And the reason is because if you tell me that you do a 10% discount or a 20% discount for your second family member, and you only have 25% of your student base that's a second family member, they're not making a decision to say, oh my God, it's 20% off? Yeah, then I'm for sure going to sign up my second kid. You can sign them up without that discount. And so you're losing money in that case, right? And that's a key point to understand. Your 10% discount isn't the reason why they're signing up their second kid. If I'm taking my kids to Disney, we're going to Disney. Whether it's full price for kid 1, full price for kid 2, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, well, it's 10% off, so then I think we should bring our other kid. Like, it's just, it doesn't work that way. And that's an example of maybe a little bit apples and oranges because it's a vacation and you bring the whole family, but it's no different. I mean, restaurants, why do restaurants do kids eat free on X day? Well, every meal is valued the same. Every meal has a value to it. And people value our food. They value the taste of our food. And so we should charge everybody equally.
And we only have so many tables in the restaurant.
That's correct.
But why do they do that?
So why do they have these kids menus with these discounted prices? And why can kids eat free? And that doesn't make sense because they understand their numbers and they understand their marketing. And if they've got a day, whether that's a Tuesday or a Sunday or a Wednesday, it doesn't matter, that they're very slow, well, that's probably the special that they're going to put in to encourage that revenue to pick up, because a bunch of empty booths versus giving away a bunch of free meals but getting people to pay full price for the adult meals is better than having an empty restaurant, which is for you better than having an empty martial arts school. And so, but this is a controversial topic, I think, for some people, because some people hear somebody say, well, you should charge full price for everything because you don't discount your service. So why would you discount your prices? And here's the deal. I mean, they may be right. We may be right, but you don't know who's right. And when we talk about stats, the one thing I do know is the majority of the people can't even tell me how many students they enrolled last month or what their gross revenue is. So I guarantee you they don't know how mmany second, third, fourth family members they have. And they're just putting a system in place because it's what they were told to do without ever investigating it. And I think, there's that the lesson really is there is you've got to really look, and this isn't going to go into a stats, Facebook Live, but if you want to know what to do, you need to listen to other people. But before you make any of those adjustments, you need to know your stats for your business, for your school, because what they're telling you to do may not make sense in your particular location, right?
And by the way, this topic is as controversial. And let me use this analogy, right? Because there's two sides on this. If you're playing blackjack at a casino and you have 16 and the dealer's showing a queen or the dealer's showing a 7 or an 8 or a 9, there's nothing to think about. If you want to play odds, you hit your 16. But there will be people there that'll be like, oh, no, because I'm going to most likely bust. Well, you're not thinking that most likely the dealer has a 10 underneath that 7, 8, 9, or queen, most likely. So you hit the 16. But people will sit there and they'll like that don't understand the numbers. It's the same thing in your school. There is nothing controversial. You got to know your stats. You got to know your numbers. And that's going to dictate your family plan. Now, let me say this too, everybody. Tassoul's right. If you discount, what you should do is, by the way, if you do have a family discount for a second family member, add up all the second family members in your school, and then add up how much revenue that is equating to with the discount that you're giving off, right? You're going to see how much revenue you're losing per month when that was not going to be the make or break of that family enrolling because of that 10% or 20% discount. Tassoul said that, okay? The other thing you're going to see, depending on if your numbers are consistent with the majority of people in the industry, where the third, fourth, fifth family members are very low compared to your singles and your doubles, okay, in your school. When you do this family plan in the basic program, you're going to get more families training, okay? Retention is going to be higher. When you have the parents training with the two kids, even if it's a separate class, retention will be higher. You're also going to find that when the family members that want to train free, the system here is they can't bounce in and out. Like, oh, it's free, so you know what, I'll take a class today, and in 6 months, I'll take a class. And no, we tell the parents, You're free in the basic program, but you got to make the same commitment as the children. And by the way, if Johnny ever quits, you now, mom, become the second family member that's paying. Are you ready to really make the commitment? So your retention and your revenue is actually going to go higher. And the third part of this system is this, and pay attention to this because this is the majority of schools. Your billing check, your tuition, those monthly payments, because what we're talking about right now is family plan discounts. As far as if you charge $100 a month for classes, right? All of that tuition that's coming in should never represent more than 50% of your gross revenue in your school. But for the majority of schools on here, that tuition represents 85% or more of your total gross revenue, which tells us that you don't understand all the other profit centers on how to generate revenue inside the walls of your school other than just billing. Why is that bad? Because the only way you can really grow, which is what the industry constantly talks about and measures your success by, is, well, how many students do you have? How many students do you have? That's how they measure success, because the more students you have, you must be making more money. But there are so many schools, you know, and the Maya family and the elite family understand this. There's a school that has 200 students that's generating more revenue than a school that doesn't understand the concept that has 400 students. And it's not about service. I would rather have 400 students with the right systems in place, right? But at the end of the day, if I'm in a town where it's not as dense as far as population, where I really can't get over 200 students, you know, it's like, you know, we're firing on all cylinders. I want to know how to maximize that revenue, by the way, without nickel and diming your customers and prospects, but by understanding how to create value and options for the clients. So when we tell you that we have let me make round numbers, a $200 per student value, meaning if I have 100 students in my school should be grossing $20,000 a month, okay? But my billing check with 100 students at $100 is only $10,000, but I'm grossing $20,000, right? And we count the free family members as well. Those free family members in our basic program still have a value to us of $200. I want you to understand that part, right? So you got to understand the whole system here. But at the end of the day, your school will tell you what family plan is good for you. The last thing I'll say, and then Tass, I'm going to throw it to you, is the majority of the karate schools, the taekwondo schools, the majority of those schools have like 80% children, 20% adults. So your kids' classes may be packed, but your adult classes aren't very packed, okay? If you incorporate a different family plan, if we were to look at that and we were to see that, and we were to list your single doubles and then, you know, 3, 4, and 5 family members, you may want to think about this plan, because now you're going to fill up your adult class. If you understand how to integrate revenue, your retention is going to grow, your revenue is going to grow, everything else is going to grow. And we just lost Tass. But anyway, you have to understand that I cannot get up at a seminar, nobody can, speak to 500 school owners and say, this is what your family plan should be, because they would be wrong. They would be wrong. You need to dive in individually to determine what your family plan should be, and it's going to be different for everybody. So that's what I would want to make sure that all of you understand. Tass, welcome back.
That was bizarre. I could still hear you. I could still hear you talking. And
really? I can't hear you again?
for real? Check, check, sound check.
Can't hear you.
Come on.
But anyway, it's probably better that way.
Can anybody else hear me? Just type in the comment.
You take over. Talk. I just went on. Give your thoughts. They may be able to hear you. I can't hear you.
Type in the comments if you can hear me.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yes. It connected to Perry's earpods. That's why. So I can hear you.
The technology you guys have over there is incredible. All right. So, yeah, that was weird. I mean, here I was all excited. Like, my internet's upgraded. There's no way I'm going to get kicked off. This is impossible. At any rate, yeah, you know, look, I'm seeing some of these. I don't even know how to read this, Weaver. Au contraire, mon frère. I don't know what that means. But to draw some negative aspects to the family plan at this point in my business in Ontario, Canada, if I had a family plan with our pandemic restrictions, I would be in trouble with spacing issues. Wouldn't we all be in trouble, or am I missing something? Is this something that I should hold off on until our government opens things up a bit? Again, without talking to you and knowing your school dynamics and your square footage of your school and how many first, second, third members, and also, here's the big thing, what your schedule is, I don't know. I mean, if you're teaching 3 classes a night, I'd say, yeah, put a family plan in. You should be teaching 6 or 7 classes a night. But again, I don't know. This is why it's on a case-by-case basis, you know, for each particular school. So again, we're big on family plans, you know, and there's not a family plan that's right for everybody. And I think that's the important thing that we're trying to make sure you guys all understand, right? We do know that, and I said this earlier, the majority of the time, the family plan that we do does work well for everybody. Mr. McClung, what are stats? Yes. And then who else do we have on here? Should parents, Mr. Stewart, should parents train free simply as a retention tool? Well, no, not just as a retention tool, right? But if they happen to be the 3rd and 4th family member, they certainly can train for free. And you'll find most families have 2 kids. And so it's easy when they pay regular tuition for the first 2. Now it's easier to get mom and dad to take advantage of your evening classes. So no, it's not child 1 trains and we just give parents it for free. It's the first 2 people in our school train at regular tuition, and everybody else in the family trains for free in the basics program, just to be clear about that. Now I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Do you have it on mute? No. Can you guys hear Metzger? This is the most bizarre show. Can you hear me? And I can't hear you now. Wow. Did you go back to Perry's AirPods? Did you connect to Perry's AirPods? He wants me to keep talking. So can you guys hear Metzger? No, they can't hear Metzger. All right. This is a great show today. This. All right. So in the comments, do me a favor. I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions. Bill Birch, by charging, I lost it.
We like hearing you back.
There you go. Now I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes. By charging full first price, the basics helps us to get parents trained as well. That's absolutely correct. Yeah. What is going on over there, Metz?
Hey, Darren Meyer says, we like hearing you best, Shane. Darren, kick him off the show immediately.
Oh, funny.
Darren Myers, kick him out of the show.
Kick him off right now.
Guys, you have to have a sense of humor. I do.
That's awesome.
Hey, here's what I was saying, though. I was saying that you can't hear me. That's what I was saying. Hey, the family plan is really, really important. I mean, it's not something you just make up and just do. You really got to understand. By the way, like with Mr. Hamby, is that who asked the question about parents or parents trained for free? Was it Mr. Stewart Hamby?
No, it was John Stewart, Mr. John Stewart.
Oh, John Stewart. Okay. But by the way, not if you cater more to adults and your adult classes are more full. Like maybe we don't do the first 2 family members pay full price, all additional or free in your school. We really got to dive in and we have to look. We have to look at the whole picture. But that's not what we do as an industry here. We take bits and pieces of different things we hear in the industry because it sounds really good, and you plug it in to a hodgepodge system where when you look at it all together, it just doesn't make any sense.
I heard this concept from, I won't name names, but from a consultant. And the concept was this, it was the chicken nugget theory. Like, you know how they take like all the bits and pieces of the chicken and then they just make the nugget, right? That was the recommendation on what you should be doing for your business. Like, just go grab all these things, the things that are working in other schools, and do all of them. Well, it doesn't work. I mean, it's like, you know, a bad example would be like, you know, you're at the car deal at the car manufacturing plant. You're like, well, I'm going to take these doors from the Ford. I'm going to take this engine from the Chevy. I'm going to take this from the Tesla. I'm going to take that. Well, they don't fit. Well, how come they don't fit? Well, because they were never manufactured to fit, right? That's not the purpose, right? You need to understand your business and your systems, because most cases where you see people having success, it's one part of a much bigger system is the reason they're having that success. And then we look at that one piece. It's like when people say, oh my God, they're lucky. Oh my God, they're successful. Well, they don't see all the hard work that led up to that. All they see is the results of what happened, right? And that's what you're seeing when you see people that have successful pieces of their system sometimes, is you don't see everything else that's a part of that. So real important to make sure that you inspect that as well.
Hey, thank you for putting this up there. We do $149 first family member, $20 off second, and family cap of $350. Parents get a free month in uniform to start. 60% of adult program is parents. And that's okay, right? But I would say to you, sir, I would say, well, why do you give $20 off the second family member? Is it because you feel like a family that came in with 2 kids would walk out of your school and not enroll because they didn't have $20 off? Or is there another reason why you just automatically give $20 off? So with this example, let's just pretend for a minute he has 50 second family members in his school. Well, 50 times $20 is $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year that I believe he's leaving on the table, because I believe that any parent that signed up a second family member for $20 off would have still signed up at regular price. Now, some of you may say, well, you're not helping families. You know, you should help them, give them a discount. That's a different conversation. Why don't you help families and just lower your price completely, right? That's just, it's not the right way. What I want to do is again, provide a service and a value, and our price is the price, right, for these first 2 family members. But you got to do what makes sense for your customer, but you also have to do what makes sense for your business, because we get into martial arts and we change lives as instructors, right? We change people's lives by getting them in martial arts, helping them get in shape, help them get confidence, right? And if you do a good job, you build these students up where they eventually become black belts and they keep training with you. But where you really start changing lives is when you can offer a career to these people, right? To people who would love to take their passion and make it into a career where they can make a real living in martial arts. And then you can even go further where, we consult to help people. We also have 80, I'm looking at the board, 89 CMA affiliates around the country, where we have taken schools that possibly would have been out of business, especially through COVID, who are not out of business, who are thriving, who are breaking records now. Well, how many lives are we impacting with all of those students now, right? But we have to make sure that we're profitable. We have to make sure that we are successful in order to make a bigger impact. And you got to do what makes sense. But it's not just so, and I'm using this as an example, and I really, really appreciate Mr. Ryan here doing that. But why not $25 off the second family member? Why not 10? Well, I don't know. And I don't know if you know, unless we dive into your roster, we look at the way you're running the school. Do you generate the same amount of revenue for those people that are getting the $20 discount as you do with the full price? So there's a whole big thing to look at here. Okay, go ahead, Tass. There's questions here, I think.
There is, yeah. My prices are too low because of my area, so I only discount after 3 family members pay. Okay, I'm not sure where that area is, but Here's what I do know. If you're not charging $100 a month or more for lessons, you're not charging enough, regardless of the area that you're in. And listen, this is not easy to say. It's not easy to hear. But if you want to make a career in martial arts, and you're going to, and I'm not saying you're blaming it on the area, by the way, I just want to be very clear about that. But if you're struggling with that, then maybe that's not the area to open a martial arts school. And that's a big decision. And so we either are going to bang our head against the wall saying people here are broke and poor and they can't afford it and there's not enough money. And again, I'm not saying that you're necessarily saying those things, but I'm just making a statement that sometimes we hear that. I'm like, but you don't understand. In my town, it's different. And here it's different. The people here are different. Well, then if they're different, and Metzger said this before, you're never going to change their minds. So why be open? Why even open your doors? Like, then go somewhere else. But most times we find it's not the people, it's the mindset. And we just got to change our mindset and look at things a little bit differently.
Yeah, real quick. Let me just look. There's a couple things here I want to address. Mr. Weaver, to complicate things even more, 60% of my clientele comes from a split family. Who gets the discount? Mama alimony or deadbeat daddy? Do you extend to their new families? Typically, a family plan is for the people that live under the same roof, right? So, if mom comes in and enrolls the two kids, then that mom and that husband or whoever's paying for that, if it's coming out of his account, then that father can train. I mean, we don't live in this black and white world, right? There's gray areas, and you got to adapt to that. But it's typically under the roof. Now, this is a great question, everybody. Opening a new location, a grand opening deal. First family member pays full price, then the next two members for $20 a month or something like that to get bodies on the floor. Let them know that after the first year, they will transition to standard tuition rate. No, you would not do that, because especially when you open a new location, you need to get in the black as soon as possible. You need to start being profitable and stop the bleeding of losing money when you open a new location. And we have grand opening deals. But our grand opening deal, I'll just tell you very quickly, but this again, I get hesitant and I'm afraid to say this stuff, because you're going to take it and you're going to try to run with it and you're not going to understand the full system of everything. Go ahead.
Just to be 100% clear, this is a grand opening special. Sorry.
You want to grab that? You want to grab that real quick? We'll wait.
It was the president. I just hit delete. Listen, this is a grand opening special for a new school. This is not a re-grand opening. This is not an open house. I want to make sure that we're clear about that. We're assuming you have no students, because when you do this, you've got to be fair for everybody. And this wouldn't be something that you would do with an existing student base later on as you're open as a re-grand opening or open house. Go ahead, Metz.
And by the way, for those of you listening in, and we appreciate you listening to this, if you're finding anything on here that we're saying slightly interesting, and you get off this show and you go back to your school and say, okay, I'm going to do this right now. First two family members, additional or free in a basic program. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this with your current clientele. We wouldn't do that. We would have to look and say, well, how much revenue are we going to lose based on your third and fourth and fifth family members training? How much will we gain? Like, for example, the gentleman on here gives $20 off the second family member. Well, if we go in and we see he really doesn't have a lot of third or fourth or fifth family members, guess what's going to happen? If I went to him and I said, hey, let's go to every single doubles that you have two family members training and tell them that if they just want to increase their payment by $20, two other people or additional family members can train free in the basic program. How many people would now pay an extra $20, join his school for free, buy a uniform, get equipment, start training, and then how do you generate the revenue with those free family members, and will retention increase over the next 12 months? I mean, that's the stuff we dive in and we look at. But as far as a grand opening goes, here's the deal we do on a grand opening. And please don't just run with this. If you really want to learn this stuff, I'm going to be honest with you. We have a My Elite program. Don't do it, because it's a long time and it's one-on-one and it's a higher price point. But I will tell you, join the foundations. It's 4 calls, you're in and you're done over 8 weeks. It's a call every other week because I'm afraid you're going to run with this. But a grand opening special is this. Number one, it's the same as a mass enrollment special. Grand opening special is enroll today. It's only $50. That includes as many family members that want to join. It includes uniforms for everyone in the family. And for us, we do a 12-month commitment, a 12-month program. But instead of 12 payments of $149, it's just 11 payments of $149. And we have a great family plan. Once you pay for 2 family members, all additional family members are free. Well, that's my plan anyway. The discount is on the front end where it's only $50 to join and as many family members that want to join can, and we provide uniforms. Now, there's also a special we run for grand opening simultaneously that you can advertise. 2 for 1, grand opening special, 2 for the price of 1. Well, what is that? You pay for, I'm sorry, what it's, 2 for 1, right. You got to pay in full for 6 months up front, and 2 people can train for the price of 1 person only if you pay in full for the 6 months. There is no discount on that 6-month paid in full. It's the regular price paid up front, and 2 people can train for the price of 1. Why do we? Now, I just told you we do 12-month programs. We do. But for a grand opening special, that cuts the price down, not by much, because on our 12-month paid in full, there's a discount, but it cuts the price point down. It generates a lot of income quickly for us so we can get out of the red, and you're getting 2 families on the floor. But it's part of a bigger system because within 3 months, they see a value. We do not force them, but they most likely will want to upgrade into a higher level program based on what we offer, which has nothing to do with the core program that you teach. And that's another thing. If you're a Taekwondo school, don't ever upgrade. Get a black belt in our basic program, get a black belt. But we have some other trainings that you can do if you'd like. And when they upgrade, now that 2 for 1, now they're paying full price and all additional family members can train free. But that's how we generate revenue quick. And I will call out a school in Utah. I won't mention the name. They just opened a new school in March or April. It was March, right? March was their first full month?
Yes, correct.
March, they just opened a second location. March was their first full month. They did over 40,000 that month. And in April, they did over 30,000. They weren't in the red at all. They were profitable right out of the gate, which is important because a lot of people don't have enough money saved up to carry them. So there's systems and ways we can generate money quickly when you open a new location with 0 students. But right now we're just talking money, right? There's a whole other thing about how to get a mass amount of people into your building quickly too when you open a new school. So that's it in a nutshell. But again, check out Maya Foundations. We start a new one next week. It's Wednesday at 2 Eastern, and there's only 4 calls. Go to mayafoundations.com as opposed to just taking this stuff and running with it because it's dangerous when you do that to your business. Go ahead, Taz.
Miss Herky says here, we'll definitely be interested in a re-grand opening offer. We do the Maya pricing already. Fantastic. Metz just went through it with you, which, let me be clear, not the 6-month paid in full. That's a grand opening special when you have 0 students. Wouldn't be fair to do to your existing students right now. So a re-grand opening special. You do our mass intro special, but it's how you market that re-grand opening. So that would be an event-based type deal where you're doing it like from 10 to 2 on a Saturday, classes every 30 minutes. There's a whole system for that, but that's what the special is it's the mass intro special with the $50 down like he was talking about earlier.
Right, and that's very dangerous too, because if you don't present this right, you're going to get upset current customers when they hear this offer and they signed up 3 months ago at a regular offer. There's a way to present this so nobody's upset. So you got to understand there's bits and pieces here, but you want to do it. And Mr. Stewart said, I compared my demographics to Tassoul. My median household income is 3 times his, and we charge the same rate as CMA. Great.
In the poor town.
But our rate, we have schools even in Orlando at higher income areas and lower income areas. Our rates are straight across the board. It's the same. Because at the end of the day, it's about how you generate that student value. What, Tass?
Mr. Weaver, you have our CMA pricing breakdown. It's in the foundations program. That's what it is.
By the way, and by the way, if you do nothing else, the lowest thing Maya offers is mayaedge.com. If you go to mayaedge.com, it is a resource center. And if you just go to the search bar and type in pricing, you're going to get all of my pricing sheets, and they're all editable. They're all editable. You can put in your own numbers, but you're going to see our pricing. You're going to see business videos on this stuff, on how to do a grand opening, on how to do a mass enrollment. All your materials are up there. I truly believe every martial arts school should be a member of Maya Edge. I really do, because everything you need to run your school is there. Where you may need a little extra help is the details on the how, right? Which we're here to help you. But we try to do as much of that in Maya Edge as well, with all the video, business videos. Plus there's a team here that if you're a Maya Edge member, you can call them directly. They'll walk you through and show you where to find everything you need and how to do it. So you can check out mayaedge.com. And yes, I mean, I'm throwing a pitch out there, but I'm throwing a pitch out there because I really know how much it can help you. I mean, Maya Edge, if you get one extra student in a year, it's paying for itself. One extra student for a year, it's paying for itself. I don't understand why every school wouldn't have. So you have everything that my schools in Orlando use, all the CMA licensees. You get all the same stuff right on Maya Edge on that. So that's the family plan. Is there any other questions or tasks? Do you have any parting words or any good advice or any other tips for our wonderful industry of martial arts?
Yeah, man, I just would, you guys sat and listened to us for this long, especially with all the complications and the muting. I know what I would do. I would be going back and I would be checking how many first, second, third, fourth family members I have, and then say, okay, here's my data. Well, now what? And Metzger opened the door for and said, hey, message us or get a hold of us, and we can help walk you through what we would do and what that would look like. So that's what I would be doing. And by the way, that's something that you should be visiting on an annual basis anyways with your school, and see if things are changing, your demographics are changing, and figure it out from there. And if you're an adult, based school, it's the same thing. How many first, second, third, fourth members do you have in your school, so on and so forth. And then look at those numbers, and if those mean something to you based on what we said and how you can, change things up, then execute the change, implement the change. If you're not sure and you've got questions, then certainly reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you guys out.
Hey, Mr. Levy, when you sign up 2 family members at full price, does it still apply if they join with option A, which is already discounted? Yes, it does. Let So that's a bit of a different question, right? The question really, the question there is, I'm going to overcomplicate it, but people, let me just say it this way. People pay differently based on how they pay. That's your pricing versus your pricing structure. So that's the difference. But yes, is the short answer. Just like for those of you that use our pricing structure, just like if someone did option B and they put down $399, well, they put down $399 for the second person. And if you get really creative and you start really understanding the pricing structure, you can work with families. Maybe they can only fit $149 a month into their budget. Well, we have one pay in full, and then the other one just does the minimum down and pays monthly. Now I'm getting complicated, but these are the things that you can do when you have the right system set up in your school and you know how to operate the systems. Right. So good topic, man. I mean, it sounds like a boring topic when it's posted because people just don't understand that there's a lot of intricacies with what's right for them, and it's not one size fits all on this. So I'm glad you guys tuned in. I wish a lot of the people who love to comment, would join in on this stuff because they're the ones that can use the most help. And just understand the business will tell you what's right, not us, right? But you got to know what to look for. You got to know that stuff. And then I charge different prices for kids versus adults for different classes. If 2 kids sign up at a lower price, I lose money with adults being third and fourth person.
Well, Mr. McGraw,
call Tassoul.
you shouldn't be doing that, number one. And number two, this is...
By the way, Matt, you just made a blunt statement. You shouldn't be doing that. If I was Mr. McGraw, I would be like, how do you know I shouldn't be doing that?
Well, call me and I'll tell you. But here's the thing. The other thing is this, is if you charge more, right, you have to keep in mind, when we do this, and this is, again, not to complicate things, but if you have 4 people that are training.
And Mr. Harvey is exactly right in that context.
There you go.
I mean, that's exactly the right answer there.
Which is exactly what I was going to just tell him. But
see, Mr. McGraw is very confused because he just said, I trust Tassoul. So now you need to call me. And I'll
very smart man. Very smart man.
But Ms. Herkey, that's exactly correct.
Yeah. The 2 highest price points and everybody else is free. Yep.
Same thing, because we do charge less for our little dragons, right? Our real young ones. But if mom and dad are joining, they're paying. The little dragons are free in the basic program. Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions?
That'd be a no.
All right.
Metz.
What's up?
What are we doing next week? What's the topic next week?
Next week, we're not. Next week, I'm out of town. Little getaway.
Oh.
So
right. And then the following week,
you'll be here live.
I'll be live. Yes. Right. Good. All right, everybody. Well, listen, let's make it an amazing May. Here we go. Good job, Mr. McGraw.
Yeah, let's make it a great month, guys. And is it just me or is time flying?
Yeah, it's going quick.
This is especially when you have kids, man. My kids get out of school in like 3 weeks. They're out of school.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's coming quick. Coming quick.
Hey, what is this about?
The Shane Only Show. Because you're going to be gone next week.
Right.
No, that wouldn't be any fun. I don't have anyone to make fun of.
And he wouldn't have any viewers. So
That's
we don't want him to do that.
That's exactly right. It'd be flooded. People would be thankful not to see Mets. We'd have record viewership. And then I learned a lesson a long time ago. This was when I worked in a bar, and it was a nightclub. Listen, it was a nightclub. And they had me come in at 10 o'clock at night, and I worked till 2 a.m. First night I'm there, they told me to go clean the bathrooms. I went and cleaned the bathrooms. After I got done, they said, who cleaned the bathroom? And I'm like, that was me. Those are the best those bathrooms have ever looked. You're cleaning those bathrooms from now on. So I learned, don't ever do a great job if you want to be, if you want to keep doing the same task. So I couldn't do the show by myself. Otherwise, I'd have to do it by myself all the time.
What a great story.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. We will see everybody 2 weeks with Tassoul sitting here in the conference room in Orlando, Florida.
Right on. All right, guys. Take care, everybody. Thanks much.
All right. Bye-bye.